The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the second day of December 2020. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zul. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, share the link, start a watch party, retweet it. Just get the conversation out there to your network. Another good one for you today, as educator and international speaker, Keisha Ellen Smith is stopping by. A lot to discuss. The Daily Play is a Who Said It?
Yes.
No, not Who Said It. Say it, don't sing it. Sorry. Say it, don't sing it. Yes. So that means what Carla just done would have gotten her ban from most places. She tried this singing thing. But real quickly, as we're coming on air about 5 minutes ago, what I was going to discuss was what happened in the press conference last night, which was the premier of Bermuda rather confusing. This guy is really an annoying individual.
I know it.
He's really, because David Burt uses a lot of words. And one of the things about people who use a lot of words is two things. Either they do it to confuse people, or they do it because they don't know how to communicate effectively what they're trying to get across. So my basically what I tweeted yesterday after that press conference. So urging locals not to travel outside of Bermuda, but encouraging tourists to visit Bermuda. Please help me understand this. Now, the obvious answer would be, well, we're okay with COVID if it means our economy survives. If that's what you mean, say it, right? So he responds finally after a lot of people responded to my tweet last night. And this is what you all's honorable premier says. Oh, he's at it more a minute ago. Hold on. He says, there is no benefit to the Bermuda economy when locals travel. Tourists support thousands of jobs in Bermuda and have allowed many families to be supported, earn some income. The balance is a difficult one, but we chose to support our tourism workers, right? He then goes on to say, I don't expect all to agree, but I hope we recognize that supporting families' abilities to earn in an economy that depends on tourism for employment as an important policy goal. It is a decision that we have made, and on balance, I am satisfied it's the correct one. Mr. Premier, someone coined the phrase, the brilliance of Burt. I want the honesty and integrity of Burt, not the brilliance of Burt. And I think honesty and integrity is very different from brilliance. So my reply to his first tweet back to me was, so it's fair to say that you're okay with COVID as long as the economy benefits. Okay, if that's the risk, so be it, but say that. But you're confusing message to say, oh, well, if you're Bermudian, please don't travel because you risk bringing COVID to Bermuda. But if you're a tourist, please bring your dollars because we need our economy to do well, even though you could be a risk health-wise. So I'm not, again, I get it, but just say it. Be honest. We should not have to wonder why this doesn't make sense. We shouldn't have to be like, this is an oxymoron. Just say it.
Are we talking about this or not? Because you said we're not, but are we?
No, I didn't say we were not. I said I had on my top of list was his
because
travel to Bermuda.
Let me go back one quick step to your initial statement about how he speaks. I don't think he speaks to confuse people. I think that he doesn't know how to speak to the everyday man. So, as a communications professional, and I've been guilty of this, not everybody knows these big words. You should be able to speak in a way that no matter whether it's someone here or someone here. So, I wanted to say that. The other thing, I think that his battle is no different than everywhere else, where it's money versus health. And I shudder to think that wealth comes first. I've seen the fights, I've seen the arguments among people, but I'll say it from out here in the UK. You do not want in Bermuda, you do not want COVID to run that island. There will be no one there to do anything because you will be critically ill and or dead. And I
But
think
I differ from you, though. I don't think shutting tourists out is a good idea. Let me be very clear with that, because I don't want
no, I
you
mean
all.
shut the borders, period, for a little while.
Well, that's my point. I don't agree with that, and that's my point. I don't want you saying on the back of what I'm questioning with the premier and people thinking I'm saying shut the borders. Hell no, I don't agree with that.
Oh no, I never said
I,
took it that.
no, I'm just saying I don't want people to think on the back of what I'm saying that you saying that is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. What I'm simply asking for is clarity from the premier in terms of what does it mean and what it looks like. Because every time I watch one of these press conferences, Carla, it's not clear. And I take your point that maybe it's the fact that the premier just doesn't like. I'll use a newspaper. I remember when I was in a communications class, and they said, you ever read the newspaper and you realize a newspaper is there for everyone to read in the most, like, you don't see words normally that you'll see in a novel. You see it's written for anyone who at one of the lowest grade levels can read and understand. And I don't think I agree with you. He does not communicate in that manner, but he uses a lot of words. And there was a former premier that used to do this same thing, use big words, a lot of words. And for me, when you can't effectively communicate in a way for the larger majority to effectively understand, then this is what you.
That's what I said. But that's what I said.
I just said I agree with you.
No, you said you don't. Honestly,
no. When I started, I said I take your point with what you originally said. The first part. The second part.
Honestly,
I still add that.
I got you, bro. My apologies. But I think, unfortunately, it's such a quagmire. Sorry, it's such a conundrum, conflict, that I just think that they just don't know what to do. Seriously, it's a very
Carla. That's okay. That's okay, because this is what I'm saying. Honesty and integrity.
Just say that.
Just say it, because there are a lot of intelligent Bermudians. Not ones that maybe your friends or family and political allies, but there are a lot of intelligent Bermudians that they're not looking for a 6-figure payout, 7-figure payout, that want to see their country do well. But just be honest with them. I've seen people, and I think they're totally missing my point. And I'm not here to argue with people this morning. I'm just not in the mood. It's weird because I wouldn't say I'm not a morning person, but I'm just not in the mood for you all right now. And comments like this, like the balance, I've heard him repeatedly say that. Whatever. Totally missing the point if 100 people are asking what to be honest and say what you mean. Because I've seen some of the most intelligent Bermudians last night questioning what sense does it make. So I'm not entertaining that BS this morning. Elizabeth says, do we even have tourists coming though? It's December. What are they doing here? See, I could go on that road, but I believe it was Don Burgess that asked in the press conference last night. So what are the numbers for November? You all are not asking enough questions. Talking about balance. How many tourists are coming where it's even worth it? Ask these questions. You all simply letting this dude, like Don Burgess asked another question last night. He asked the gentleman, is it true that he had dinner with former New York mayor at a local hotel? And his answer was, I did not have dinner at this hotel with him. So the answer wasn't clear. Like, did he have dinner with him? Don Burgess
meet with him?
Yeah, right. Don Burgess should have followed that up. Mind you, he could have been out of questions. You know how controlled that is, to say, okay, well, did you have dinner with him? David Burke,
did you meet him there?
Very clever in the way he speaks, and he understands what he's working with. And it always takes me back to what a former OBA MP said about Bermudian people. This former OBA MP, and this is why the OBA is pretty much no longer in government and hanging on. But they said, oh, Bermudians complain, they'll shout, they'll make noise for 5 minutes, and then they'll forget. Well, no. Not with you guys. With the PLP, yeah. But not with the OBA. No, there's a different standard for you all. You know, I mean, mama could spank me. But you, Miss Lady over across the street, nah, you're not touching me. I don't know you like that. So my point is, I truly cannot wait for the day. And I think it's gonna come soon. When people hold this a lot accountable, and demand answers. I appreciate that on Twitter, the tone has changed and young people are holding his feet to the fire. I appreciate it because I've said this for years. The politician needs to understand elections are not won. They're lost. So Mr. Burt, don't think you won a landslide in 2020 and won in 2017. Your opponents lost. Keep that in mind, my friend. I feel like we have to keep this show going simply because
you need a Snickers today, you know.
What's the Snickers going to do for me? I'm got my juice right here. Look, let's go through some comments. Go ahead, Carla.
Shouting Eugene Fox says the government needs to learn how to engage better with Bermuda Twitter because they are not having it.
Cool.
Good morning. I thought the same thing. The question about Bloomberg was too specific because it doesn't matter where they were, just if they met. Yeah, meaning
and he is smart. The way he and again, nobody follows up. David Burke, as Mark Bean said, he is an intelligent guy, and he knows what he's up against. So when you're speaking with him, you have to be ready for what he does, and what he does is use words to confuse people. And he did that there. Jackie, hey, go ahead, girl. It's still warm for them here. So same as they did last year and year before, visit local friends and hang out at the beaches. But if they're visiting local friends, ain't that no different from a local return? Never mind, whatever. But yes, Jackie, that was one of my arguments last night. Mia Hartman says, to a certain extent, no, many are staying at homes instead of hotels. Therefore, they're mixing and mingling with the average local. We have a lot of repeat visitors that come every year. I'm speaking from experience. I talk with them daily. I wonder where you work. But that said, that was one of the arguments I used last night. Like, they're going to be around locals, especially not everyone's staying at hotels if they're staying at homes. Carrie Lamb says, just out of curiosity, are there any statistics that give actual breakdown of visitors versus locals? Every time I heard someone asking about statistics last night, it was like, oh, I'll get back to you kind of thing. Tamara Richardson, do tourists coming to our home have the same and consideration a returning Bermudian would have? I think not. There you go. A lot of people want to reactivate their Twitters. Look at that. Twitter literate. Yeah, it's some action over there, folks. It's some action over there. Let's go to my brother Talent says, all that they do not know, I still think they are making sense of it all, and maybe they can communicate better. But their actions are proven otherwise. Well, remember, Talent, when the One Bermuda Alliance was in, a lot of complaints about their communication and PR. I just thought they governed poorly, to be honest, but that could be in some people's opinions. It could have been a PR thing as well. Most of the infections are local returning and mixing with their family and friends, and the government needs to switch up the local return location where they quarantine and not freely mix with them, fam. Give me some more on that. Go ahead, Carla.
There, in Turks and Caicos, I believe, when I was doing some research last week, they have a place such as that, but people have to pay. So when they come to the island, because it was tied into the remote working program, there is a village that they have where people have to check in to do their quarantine. Now, I think another creative way, use one of these hotels that are closed or have low numbers, like a section of it. And when you return, you go into mandatory quarantine, like how they did with those bridge flights in April, I believe it was. You have them there for X amount of time. Put a bracelet on them once that time passed to track them for the duration of the 14 days. I totally agree with Talent.
I'm sorry.
But some of
Yeah,
you would say, oh, that's like prison. But I
I
think
just, hey,
Bermuda's
hey,
got to
hey,
do what
that's
it's
what
got
it,
to do.
that's what it reminds me of. What they do? What's it called? Is it parole? What they do when they get
Yeah,
their?
but still, Jamal, listen, I know you're making light of it, but I mean, the kids that did it when they came home at South P and Cocoa Reef, we had a little bit of complaints, but it worked. So why not do that for the sake of the Bermudians? And it would also keep the economy going. You want to come to Bermuda? And remember, I wanted to come here for Christmas. If I had to do that for 4 days, and I would do it if it wasn't too expensive, or even on the government dime. It's cheaper than closing down or doing a lockdown and preventing people from making money.
I'm gonna tell you this here. Ain't no shelter in place coming. They may have to give Carl a suggestion. I mean, the government has couldn't be more clear. No shelter in place come down. You all know I repeat it
Something's
enough.
got to give, Mal.
I do not agree with shelter in place, as they call it, shutdowns. I do agree with the government in trying to keep the economy going. I just think that the government needs to be more honest and direct and not leave so much for questioning. Let's go through some comments before we get to Carla in the news and then bring our guest in for the day. Renee Sherlin Simmons says, I'm glad you said it because I thought I was the action. I thought only I actually comprehended what was being said. So no, you never had dinner at the Lawn with Bloomberg, but did you have a meeting with Bloomberg? This is it. James Burt says, Premier Burt is very clever at controlling the narrative for known purposes. Connect Island Empress Burgess says, well, this is where our media needs to get better. Just our people need to be better and challenge the government. I posted it last night. I couldn't agree more. Jack says, he just needs to keep it short, blunt, and transparent, straight to the point. I'm not quite sure that's his strong point. Look, Lamone says, I agree. Take them straight from there. You and Carla, boy, I tell you.
You can't have it both ways.
You have to run. Hold on. Tommy Richardson says, I'm sorry, there's a question on the form. Can you quarantine apart from your family? Yes or no? I have an apartment, separate wing, or otherwise. Why do I need the government to imprison me? Absolute nonsense. How about quarantining for more than 12 to 24 hours on the landing with a pretest? So a lot of opinion on this. I think, Carla, you should reach out to them and tell them you have some expertise to offer, but you may no longer be part of that. Well, sorry, you may not no longer, but you may not be able to get on that family and friends and family plan. What is it called? Family and friends plan?
I don't know, but I need to be on it, damn it.
All right.
Sorry.
So look, government, if you're looking to donate more money to someone, Carla is available.
I will work for it. They don't have to donate it.
Well, I mean, the way they're throwing hundreds of thousands about recently, I mean, Carla, let's get to the news before I get you in trouble.
Too late for that, Jamal. BBC News reporting this morning that the UK has become the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine, paving the way for mass vaccination. Britain's medicines regulator, the MHRA, says the jab, which offers up to 95% protection against COVID-19, is safe to be rolled out. The first 800,000 doses will be available in the UK from next week, Health Secretary Matt Hancock said. People should wait to be contacted by the National Health Service, he added. Elderly people, those in care homes, and some NHS staff will be prioritized first, although more details on the priority list is due later. The Pfizer-BioNTech jab is the fastest vaccine to go from concept to reality, taking only 10 months to follow the same steps that normally span 10 years. The UK has already ordered 40 million doses of the free jab, enough to vaccinate 20 million people. The doses will be rolled out as quickly as the company in Belgium can make it, Mr. Hancock said, with the first load next week and then several millions throughout December. But the bulk of the rollout will be next year. He added, quote, 2020 has been just awful and 2021 is going to be much better. Now, here's a bit of medical news that I find a bit intriguing. Though Molly Gibson is just over 1 month old, she could have been born at any point in the last 27 years. Her embryo was frozen in October 1992 and remained frozen until earlier this year in February, when Tina and Ben Gibson of Tennessee adopted her embryo. Tina gave birth to Molly in late October, nearly 27 years after her embryo was first frozen. Molly's birth is believed to set a new record, one previously held by her older sister Emma for the longest frozen embryo known to have resulted in a birth. Gibson became pregnant with both Emma and Molly with the help of the National Embryo Donation Center, a faith-based can't say that, a faith-based nonprofit in Knoxville that stores frozen embryos in vitro fertilization patients who have to, sorry, they have, they, jeez. They store frozen embryos in vitro fertilization patients have decided not to use. Families can adopt those unused embryos, which are then transferred to an adoptive parent's uterus. Emma, the Gibsons' older daughter, was born in November 2017 and set the previous record for the longest frozen embryo known to have been resulted in birth, according to the center. Hers was frozen for 24 years. Jamal, what's your favorite fruit? I want to say banana,
Nah, I like oranges probably the most. So yeah, probably no,
Okay.
yeah, oranges.
Okay, you missed the banana joke, but anyway. December is pear month. Pears have been around for over 4,000 years, coming from the Caucasus and spread over from Asia and Europe to North America. Today, pears are considered a staple in any supermarket, but in comparison to fruits like apples and your favorite, oranges, pears can be difficult to incorporate into your daily meals. Pear month is here to change that. USA Pears created this day back in 2011 based off of a survey that stated that 84% of shoppers cannot tell when a pear is ripe when they are shopping in the grocery store. Did you know how to tell if it was ripe? The best way is to check the stem of the pear. Turning to weather, with expected rain and high today in Bermuda is expected to reach 72, while Tampa, Florida will see a high of 62. Brighton, UK will see a high of 46. And don't forget to tune in to the full100radio.com tonight for Nighttime Jams, featuring some of your favorite romantic classics. That's your Daily Hour news break.
Could we get a more boring day than Pear Day? I mean, December 2nd. Let's create Jamel and call a day or something. A pear? I mean, come. Anyway, we have a very special guest coming up after this. Educator, international speaker, someone I've actually read a lot about, and she posts a lot on LinkedIn. And if you don't, I've been trying to get you all on LinkedIn since we began this show, but I'm really looking forward to learning today, and hopefully you all can learn. So after this quick break, Keisha Ellen Smith will be joining us.
Good day, Medical House Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products.
Anything that we ask them to do, they come through.
These same professional quality products are available to you for home healthcare.
If we can use them, we definitely do so.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It also has restaurant uniforms that stand up to even the toughest shifts. If you're on your feet all day, Medical House has comfortable and stylish shoes that are also durable and easy to clean. Everyone needs some help cleaning up, and Medical House has got it. Leading-edge janitorial, facility, and maintenance supplies are all here. Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there's private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
Recently, we've been re-examining the way we eat sweets as we live under the shadow of diabetes, a bona fide epidemic in Bermuda and abroad. All the makers of alternative sweeteners are striving to create that safety margin, and this month, we're featuring a heavyweight contender, Lakanto monk fruit sweetener, fighting the battle of the glycemic index. Originating in southern China, the unique monk fruit imparts sweetness without sucrose or fructose, resulting in the healthiest sugar alternative. Try Lakanto sugar-free golden, liquid, and classic monk fruit sweetener. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Yeah, baby. Welcome back to the big show. Carla Zoom, myself, Jamel Hartman. It is the Daily Hour. Thanks again to Medical House and Lindo's, also Crimson Multimedia over there on Channel 82, where the show is also available if you have One Communications cable, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Thank you all for just rocking with us and making sure that we're able to have such conversations. But enough about Premier Twitter fingers. We have a guest today that is important, and let's raise the level of conversation. So without further ado, let's bring in Keisha Allen Smith. Good morning and welcome.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
No, so thank you for coming. And apologies about Carla getting a bit heated about that political stuff. She does that sometimes. And takes me down that
Keisha,
road with
Keisha knows me well enough to know, okay?
I'm had a
yeah.
good giggle.
But no, let's get to it. We have a lot of important things to discuss. Just last week, we had Dr. Curtis Tweed from the Bermuda College on to discuss a reading conference that the college was having last week, right? Uh, when she was on, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, I believe she said 60% of Bermuda's children were reading below grade level.
Mhm.
I was shocked. Some people just were like, why are you shocked? But as an educator, how important is learning beyond the classroom? And what would you recommend as an educator and tutorer to combat this problem that we face with literacy?
Okay, as an educator, I look at the whole child, right? The student as a whole person. So, first of all, when it comes to meeting individual needs of students, we have to do just that, tune into the individual. And so, at Target Learning, which is my tutorial business that I run, and shout out right off the bat to my awesome team of educators that are there. We have 8 that help out the students. But what we do is we start with a diagnostic assessment so that we can pinpoint the individual needs of students and then create a personalized learning plan for them. So at this point, when students are struggling, we have to meet them where they're at, find out what they know and what they still need to know, and then work with them at a pace that meets their needs to help them to grow. And then we also have to support. We have to look at the environment on a whole that our children are growing up in right now. We have parents working, multiple jobs to survive the economy. And then on top of that, we have high levels of trauma and stress. And I talk a lot about ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences, and explain how when students or children are living in environments where they are experiencing trauma, which could be abuse, that could be physical, sexual, it could be having a parent in the home that's incarcerated, losing a loved one that's close to them, all of the neglect, right? There are so many different traumas that children undergo, and not even just not knowing where food's coming from the next day. And this has an impact on their brain and brain development. So this also causes delays in learning, right? Or them not having that support at home. So the presence and the awareness is key for children right now.
Indeed, indeed. You hit so many things, and I want to go back to a lot of things. And let me just make a note. I'm sorry, but I want ACEs, did you say?
Yes, adverse childhood experiences.
Adverse. Okay, I want to talk about that more a bit later just to get an
Hmm.
understanding if we have time of, I guess, just the impact of that. And it's something that probably most people don't consider. But
Hmm.
you and your team, you offer tutoring through Target Learning, where you focus on empowering students to
Hmm.
become independent and confident learners, right?
Yes.
What are some of the things that you and your team do differently from others to accomplish this? I mean,
Yeah.
I often speak on this show, especially about critical thinking adults, but I think
Hmm.
independent thinkers as children, getting them while they're young, it's imperative.
Yeah. So instead of tutoring, we do more of an academic coaching approach where we are using questioning and trying to get children to work through things for themselves. And we're not there to just feed them the answers, right? So, like I said, we start with that diagnostic assessment, meet them where they're at, and then start working along with them. We take a blended learning approach because, we have to move with the times, and blended learning means we are combining traditional learning styles with online learning. And if you think about it, education is one of the slowest things to evolve. Everything else has changed around us, but yet when you get to college, you're still sitting in a lecture hall just like they did 100 years ago, right? And so with our students today, teaching them with just a worksheet or a workbook and pencil is not going to engage them and motivate them to learn. We have to do a bit of both. We have to keep what we know works, but then also do the blended learning approach. So the online also helps students because it speaks to the visual, the audio, and the kinesthetic needs, right? They like to interact with the devices. That's just where we are today. So we use that along with the traditional learning styles, and that helps them as well as when you are using systems online, it encourages you to use those critical thinking skills. Sometimes they have to research. So we coach them along when they get to a point where it's something they don't understand. It's not about just giving them the answers. It's about coaching them to being able to figure it out on their own. And so confidence grows if you are working with a child individually and celebrating small successes as their confidence builds, then they begin to start to just tackle things on their own and become more of an independent learner.
I love this approach, and unfortunately, I did not really benefit from something like that until I got to college, which is, yeah, that's I love it. This has been a challenging time right now that we're in due to the pandemic. Educators have had to adapt to teaching online. Students have had to adapt to learning online, and parents, I mean, they've had to adapt to working from home and assisting their children with their schooling. And in Bermuda, over the last week or so, some schools or some grade levels or years in schools have closed down due to people coming in contact or cases, right? How stressful can a period like this be, not just on the student, but the educators and the parents? And how can they cope with such?
Yeah. So notice I'm him. You see the picture in the background. So I'm on quarantine. My daughter attends Delwood, right? And so it has caused us to have to shift instantly over this weekend, right? And so, I completely understand. And it's very stressful. When we first went into shelter in place, like you said, it was that whole transition. So, now we are working in an unknown environment, something that's unfamiliar. We have to learn something new. Some people are dealing with the struggles of isolation, fear, right? Fear of not knowing what's going to happen in the long run with the virus, with finances. So the stress is huge. And one way that I deal with stress and I encourage others is to just do some deep breathing. Mindfulness is something I teach, but deep breathing is an awesome way to calm and regulate our central nervous system. And the breath is something that we have with us at all times. So, yes, stress is high. We have personal stresses, we have professional stresses, but the breath is something that is always with us in any setting that we go into. I always say breathing is something that we do both consciously and unconsciously. If you had to remember to breathe, you probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. But we can also control our breaths to regulate ourselves. So when you're running that race and you're tired, we naturally just start to take deep breaths, right? When women are about to have babies, they take Lamar's classes and we are taught breathing exercises to manage the pain. So the breath is a tool that helps us to just calm our whole central nervous system. So when you have those moments where you're feeling overwhelmed and on edge, I encourage people, this is what I do for myself. I just pause and do some deep breathing until I feel myself calm. No, it doesn't take everything away, but it does counteract the effects that stress can be having on your body.
Now, Keisha, that ties into my next question because as a mom, you know how it goes. You work, home, activities, etc. Now, you talked about deep breathing, but are there other ways that people can do that are simple, that may not cost anything for self-care? And my second part of that is how much time, because we always say we don't have time, how much time minimally do we need to give ourselves some self-care?
Okay, so for that caller, I would say off the bat, practice the 4 Ds. So my 4 Ds are drop, delay, delegate, and do. So I know all about being overwhelmed, right? Parent of two, working 6 days a week because tutoring business runs on a Saturday. My daughter has extracurricular activities, so we're leaving him 8 in the morning, getting him 8 at night. It can get tiring. So, and then you have Sunday left where you're doing laundry, groceries. It's overwhelming. So, 4 Ds. Look at your whole list of everything you have to do. Decide what can I drop on this list? Like what is not important to me or essential? Then decide, okay, what can I delegate? I'm looking at everything and this could wait till next week or next month. Delegate, right? There are people, my children, yeah, they could have some more chores. Let me delegate the laundry to them or the dishes to them or at work. What can I delegate? So once you drop, delay, delegate, and drop, delay, and delegate, you now have a smaller list left of things that you can do. And so it should be a bit more manageable. So that right away caller is free. It's something you can just take some time, 10 to 20 minutes to sit and write that out. And now you have a shorter list of things to do. But now when you tackle that list or before you tackle that list, schedule your self care in first. So with your do list, self care comes first, and 30 minutes is perfect, right? I call it my power half hour, and I do it in the mornings. So my days start with 30 minutes. I do a 10-minute meditation, 10 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes of either yoga or a hit workout, and then also pouring a libation, which is my form of prayer. And but everyone's power half hour, the 30 minutes can be whatever works for them. Just cut out some time. I find mornings is the best. And if I miss it, my day goes off.
Man, this is some good stuff. Go ahead, Carla.
I know I wrote them down, Keish. So, as a mom, I have one of my children has dyslexia. Um, targets are target learning. Do you cater to students with learning disabilities as well, or is it just traditional students?
So yeah, we do actually offer services for students with dyslexia. And again, we do, like I said, I have an awesome team. And so I have teachers that are reading specialists. So we are sure to pair students with teachers that best meet their needs. And then we take the individual child. Parents will send us, reports from the reading clinic or any other assessments they've had. We consider all of that and we work with children, on an individual basis to make sure that we meet the needs that or the challenges that they may have.
Now, you talked about technology in the classroom and the methods that you use, but traditionally, I mean, your child takes a phone to school, it usually gets taken away, no matter where they are in the world. It's the same out here in the UK as well, right? But do you think if they incorporated um, cell phones more into the curriculum where they're used as educational tools, do you think that that would make a difference in student engagement?
Yeah, actually, there has been a shift due to COVID with that because, well, I work at Barclays, so we are a technology school. So all students have devices. But we also have to understand the economy. So this year, we are allowing cell phones to be used as an educational device in the classroom. So yes, it does have a huge impact with engagement because if each child has their own device and a teacher asks a question, then every child in the classroom is responsible for answering. So it holds them accountable for paying attention versus in the traditional classroom and the teacher was teaching and they asked the question and you knew it was like 3 or 4 people that always raised their hand or wanted to give the answer first. In their settings, when children are smart and they know Keisha, Carla, and Jamal are always going to answer, they might just sit back and not even worry about thinking. But with the devices, it individualizes it so that every child has to answer the question. So now everyone is responsible and has to be engaged and be able to provide an answer to the question. And now that it's digital, when they do answer on that device, the feedback comes directly to the teacher. So now the teacher has immediate feedback and data and can have a quick glance of who is understanding and who isn't. So yes, those tools are awesome and they are changing the game when it comes to education.
Now, I wanted to shift gears to the other Keisha, the other phenomenal side of Keisha.
Mhm.
Um, you are now an international speaker and you recently had your first event. Was it difficult or has it been difficult to build your brand outside of Bermuda?
Um, I would say that the universe is aligning and things are just playing out in ways that just, are amazing me right now. In the beginning, that was a girl, and I didn't know how I was going to get there, but it was all about trust in the process. And COVID forced me to go within more than I usually do. And so I just started to do some more courses, join some more groups on Facebook, and the way it has evolved, honestly, I did a African centered liberation weekend retreat, and I saw one speaker. I joined his group on Facebook, which was Black Speakers Network, and from just engaging with that group, the opportunities began to open up. So it wasn't difficult because things just started to evolve. And from that one event, other people see you speak and hear you. And so if they like you, they reach out and they contact you and invite you onto their platforms as well. So basically, that's how it evolved. And then I had to trust myself, trust what I know, trust the information I was given, and then step outside my box and put myself out there to be able to speak on those platforms. It was nerve wracking at first, but I've made it through.
And Bermuda, to me, I think Bermuda is full of so many talented and knowledgeable people, but they often use the size of Bermuda as a barrier to why they think that they can't reach out to the entire world. And with technology, of course, that helps. What would you say to someone who thinks that they're limited to only spreading their word in Bermuda or their knowledge?
No, I would say, expand, think beyond that. We are in a digital age, like this is global, right? The daily hour is seen all around the world, right? We cannot limit ourselves to just Bermuda. There's a whole world out there, and I say, just step out there, put yourself into these spaces so that you can just be seen, get your voice out there. I find that it's easier to speak to a foreign audience because you don't know them. And Bermuda was so small. If you're just on a local platform, you know most of the people, so it's probably a little more nerve wracking. So yeah, I say step outside your box. There's a whole world out there just waiting to hear your message.
I want to go to the comments because someone said it, and I was just gonna say there's so much with the guests that have come on this show recently, how everything connects. And when you spoke about meditation and self-care, it's something that we all probably don't even realize that we should do, can do, and should make time to do it. You said 30 minutes of your day. When you think about the amount of hours, there's 24 hours in a day. You're taking a half of one of those hours to do it.
Yeah.
Just 30 minutes. I've come
Mhm.
across so many people that, and I thought like this. So it's not like I'm criticizing others. I actually felt like I did not have time to go for a walk and just free up my mind. I felt like I didn't have time. I see Carla's putting up her hand, right? But honestly, you all, and it's encouraging to hear you say it. I think it was Latoya Bridgewater the other day who simply said the same thing. Like we have to make time for these, and once we do that, everything else not it doesn't just fall into place, but it's easier to deal with even the disappointments that will take place as you go to reach your goal. So I definitely appreciate the way that you spoke about meditation and yoga. I may
Yeah.
actually want to get involved.
Yeah, Jamal, I always say self-care doesn't even always have to be something separate from what you do. Self-care could also just be being mindful of what you eat and what you put into your body. So you can build self-care into your daily routine without having to even set aside extra time, right? It could be instead of taking the elevator, taking the stairs. Even just grounding yourself. So when you're outside, just take your shoes off, right? Be barefoot. I also always say grounding is so important. And, we are all from Bermuda. We've experienced hurricanes. And after a hurricane, when you come back outside, you notice that the trees with the deepest roots are the ones that are still standing. And we are the same way. If we're well grounded, when the trauma or stresses hit us, yes, we might sway a bit, but if we're grounded, we're going to be more able to stand back up firm and straight. So our resilience will be better. So it's important to just ground ourselves. There are so many little things we can do and build them into our day.
It's funny you mentioned grounding because I had never heard of that. And interestingly, we live in a flat here in the UK, but there's a park across the street. And my 14-year-old said, "Mommy, can I go at 6 in the morning to do some grounding?" And I was like, "What is that?" And he explained it to me. And I just thought that was so bizarre. But my question is this, because I always thought yoga to be something that old people did or even just white women did, right? I heard Jamal saying he wants to do it. I've only maybe seen one man do yoga. My question is, do you think that with the way that the internet and everything is now, that it's exposing more people to this beautiful practice?
Yeah, I think the internet's just exposing us to so many truths and so many methods of self-healing, that it's just an awesome thing. But I always say choose what resonates with you, right? Everybody's path is different, but yoga, yes, many men do it. And it's not about how flexible you are with yoga. It's about the journey, not about reaching the end pose. So it's about connecting your mind, your body, and your spirit, breathing, and being able to just sit with the poses. And yeah, like I said, connect mind, body, and spirit. And it just helps, it calms you, it strengthens you, it stretches you. It's just overall therapeutic for your well being.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I think with yoga now, there's so many YouTube videos or people doing instructionals that can assist you with it. It took me long to want to do it because I just wasn't into it, but it's definitely something that I'm hearing more and more people like yourself and others who, are spiritually connecting with their inner self.
Yeah.
They're turning to it, and so it's like, well, Jamal, this is maybe part of the process that you have to go. You may not
Mm.
want to do it, but it may be something that you may enjoy doing, but you have to do it to get to where you want to be. Let's close it out. How can people get in touch with you in regards to whether it's tutoring or they'd like you to come and speak? Because unfortunately, we only talk for about a half hour here, but if I could, we could go on for another few hours. But
Mm.
how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, so quick before that, I have an announcement.
Woo!
I have a book coming out. It's called 77 Ways to Reduce Stress and Energize Your Life. And it has 77 tips or some things I just talked about, that you can do that help to manage stress and also improve your self-care. So look out for that. Hopefully it'll be out by Christmas. But if you want to reach me in terms of learning about stress management and also self-care, you can email me at love and light Keisha Empowers at gmail.com. I'm on Instagram as Love and Light Empowerment and Facebook as Keisha Allen Smith. And then for Target Learning, it's targetlearning at live.com. And then Facebook and Instagram, Target Learning Bermuda. So I'm pretty easy to find. You can just go on Facebook and look up my name if you forgot all of that, and then you can just message me from there. But yeah, we do workshops for groups. We do it for corporate, online. We do them in person. I offer vibe sessions that could be individual or for groups of friends. And in vibe sessions, we vibe together, we scribe and do some reflection, and then we help to build some personal self care plans because I'm all about what are we going to do going forward? So after you hear me speak, after you read my book, then what are we putting in place to make changes in our lives and how are we going to hold ourselves accountable for that? So it's all about the whole transformation, not just that one time, workshop or hearing you speak. We have to follow it through and we want this transformation for everyone to take place because if we shift our energy, we shift our lives.
That is a great way to end it. Shift our energy. We shift
And we
our
shift
lives.
our lives.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Keisha, for making the time to do this. Um,
Thank you.
Even though you're in prison right now, quarantine, folks, it's not prison.
Well, yeah, making the most of it.
Making the most.
Looking for the positives.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for doing this, and please know if, especially when your book comes out, please send us the information so that we
Will
can
do.
help get it on some people's lists for the holidays. And
Thank
in the new year, we'd like to have you come back and get people started. With look, January is a time when a lot of people like to start afresh, so we'll be reaching back out to you.
Thank you
And
much.
Keish, I want to
Yeah.
say thank you because I'm going to pay some good money to see Jamal in yoga pants. The really tight ones.
As long as they don't have a bow at the bottom.
No, I want to bow.
My goodness. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you
Have a
so
good day,
much.
Keish.
You too.
All right.
My goodness. Wow. Carla, before we take this quick break and come back for the daily play, I just have to go back to her. Carla said old people do yoga, and then she said white women.
That was my perception.
I well, let me apologize on behalf of the innocents of those who don't know. But thankfully, we have people like Keisha Allen Smith that have the patience to get us to know and understand. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back so that we can get more of these moments from Carla Zool in the Daily Play.
The halls with smartphone data, fa la 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 la. Spread your holiday cheer with next one, fa la 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 la. Free devices, phones and TVs, fa la 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 la. Visit our website for more info, fa la 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 la.
Give some unexpected joy this season with free devices, plans that now include more data, and bundles for the whole family. Happy holidays from One Communications.
All right, welcome back to the Carla is Embarrassing show. It's the Daily Hour. Carla Zool, myself, Jamel Hartman. We must be, but see, you know what? We must be honest in what we don't know if we're to learn what we need to know. So, Carla,
La 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 la.
you've never done yoga, right? You've never done yoga?
No, but I'm gonna start. I've actually yoga and I've started meditation and I've been trying to get into yoga. So I've been inquiring for a while. Keisha did recommend someone. So I'm gonna do some videos because I just want to do it.
We have some folks that Nikki said, Michelle says, Carla, it's powerful. I've had my daughter in yoga since she was 1.5. She now uses that at 4 years old and short meditation techniques as a calming and self-regulation technique. Congrats, Keisha. Powerful work you are doing. I do Pilates at least 2 times a week, all inspiring stuff. So many different things that have come along that are really, really helping people. Kenneth says, I can get with the slow music yoga, but I heard there are more upbeat yoga music for my people, and I want to find in Bermuda anyone knows. So help connect out with some upbeat yoga, folks. Tamara Richardson, awesome analogy. The roots must run deep to withstand the inner storms. Yes, and another comment, Emily Gail Dill also says the trees with the deepest roots remain standing. A lot of takeaways from the conversation with Keisha. So thanks again to Keisha for that. Don't forget, folks, we'll be rounding out the week with the president CEO of Skyport at Bermuda's new airport that is set to open. Mr. Aaron Adderley will be joining us on Friday. So looking forward to that conversation. Due to COVID, I am not going to get to experience Bermuda's new airport this December, unfortunately. But if you are lucky enough to do so, it looks like it might be a great experience, very different from previously, but we'll speak with Mr. Adderley about that. We have a semi-confirmation for tomorrow, but whether we have a representative from the Bermuda Police Service here or not, we will definitely still be discussing the disappearance of Chevelle Dillon Burgess. We will do what we can to keep that conversation alive, whether the Bermuda Police Service is able to join us or not. But hopefully the Bermuda Police Service does come tomorrow. Hopefully they connect with our audience, engage with our audience, and understand that together as a community, we can help solve this mystery. That said, it is daily playtime, Carla. So it's very easy. Why are you rolling your eyes at me?
Because you know how I process, and you know it's very difficult without rhythm for me to figure out the lyrics, but I'll end up singing them anyway. So go ahead.
I think people are going to get this before I even finish it. That's how easy it is. All right. Quote.
Okay.
These are the lyrics to the song that Carla has to guess today, folks. The fireside is blazing bright, and we're caroling through the night. End quote.
And it's a Christmas song. Is it Let It Snow?
I literally almost read it in the tune that it goes.
I know, but I don't do Christmas carols. That must makes it worse. Say it again real quick. The
fireside is blazing bright, and we're caroling through the night.
Oh, Jingle Bells. Oh, this Christmas. Yeah, that. Mm-hmm.
See? No, let it snow. Don't do call.
This is not this Christmas?
Yes, it's this Christmas. She said
this fireside. Oh, that and caroling.
I'm sorry, folks. I had to put it on mute. I don't want to do that to you all. I don't want to. You don't deserve that. You do not hurt their ears. You look. If they don't come back, let it be because I'm rude, not because you're killing their ears. But
we family is I.
So this Christmas it is. You were on a roll last month, Carla, and unfortunately you've gone back to regular schedule programming.
I know. I don't do Christmas carols, Mal.
What I try to do is give you the lyrics right before the name of the song. So what comes after Caroling Through the Night? This Christmas.
See, there you go. I can tell you last time I listened to a Christmas carol besides that one.
So are you like a Grinch, or is it called a Grinch, or?
My mama used to listen to So whose mama had the green and the red album? What was it? Motown Christmas? I swear I listened to that every year between 6 and 18. So after I left, I was like, nah.
But you do like Christmas though, right?
Anyway.
I'm asking. I don't know.
I like spending time with my family, my extended family, but I haven't been in Bermuda for Christmas since 2016. So I haven't really had a proper Christmas in the UK. Happy to be with my children, but otherwise than that.
No, I get it. I mean, Christmas means different things to different people. The holiday is due, period. So for some people, it's a time that they don't want to, they don't like. I mean, I had someone last month saying, look, I heard a Christmas carol and I want to throw something at the radio. Right? It means different things. Not everyone has family they can enjoy. For some, it brings up bad memories. So it's not a judgment thing. It's more of understanding what it means to certain people. Do you have any inspiration for us today?
Yes. But real quick, me and a work colleague got in an argument because she played Christmas carols and I got mad at work. But anyway, call me Grinch.
Oh, you're screwed.
It was like November. Anyway,
the September 1st, but go ahead.
Puke. The quote of the day: walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. Helen Keller.
Helen Keller. Is that she was the lady that was blind and deaf, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, she good author, a lot of good stuff from her. Good quote. Thank you for that, Carl. Any final words on today's episode before we head out?
No. Yes. Happy birthday to Teacher Koki. Carolyn Griffiths. Her birthday is today. And again, thank you, Keisha, for spreading your love and light.
Who's Teacher Koki again?
Teacher Koki, Frisbell's Hill. She was nurse. The church across down the bottom of your hill, across from mine. House of Prayer. Javon Williams' mom. It's her birthday today.
Okay, all right. Teacher Koki, I'm sorry. Me and the
Jamal didn't go Sunday school.
No, I went to Sunday school. I just didn't go in my own neighborhood. I went to evening like Pentecostal.
I didn't go Sunday school.
Yeah, well, see, there you go. Yep, problem child number one. But no, thanks again to Keisha Ellen Smith for doing this. I really can't thank everyone who comes and has these kind of conversations enough. The intent is to elevate the conversations and ensure that we can learn from one another and improve our community one episode at a time. And so I appreciate her. I look forward to having her back. And we have to speak this positive energy into ourselves and into our community if we're to get better. So thanks again to her and everyone who gives us the opportunity to engage and communicate with our audience. So you know what time it is. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, Carla and I will be back tomorrow. I promise you, with no singing. Carla Zul, Jamel Hartman. Peace out.